Hello everyone and welcome to Season of War. Tonight we are back for another short Age of Sigmar video. My name is Fabian and today we're going to talk about battle tactics. Without further ado, let's get started. First thing first, let's start with a general overview of battle tactics. Battle tactics in 4th edition are the secondary scoring. They are worth 4 points each out of 10. It's worth noting that there is no more ground strategies, so battle tactics are more important than ever. And the way you select your battle tactic is at the start of your turn using the tactical gambit ability. There are 8 available battle tactics per army, 6 universal ones, and 2 per Grand Alliance. In previous edition there were between 11 and 14 per army, so it's going to be much harder to score your 5 battle tactics this season. A consequence of that is that the total number of tactics in the game went from more than 150 in the previous edition to 14 now, so it's going to be possible to learn all of them. And last, for the generalities about the battle tactics, the double turn has changed. Now, if you elect to take the double turn, you cannot select the tactical gambit ability, meaning that you cannot pick a battle tactic anymore. But if you are forced to take the double turn by your opponent, you can select a battle tactic and score it as normal. Let's start the universal battle tactics by Do Not Waver. This one asks you to have 2 or more friendly units that fought and none of them being destroyed. This one would be a good middle of the game tactic, and it's worth noting that you are eligible to fight either if you are in combat or if you charge. So charging 2 units against 1 means that even if you kill it with the first unit, your second unit will still be able to fight. Second is Take Their Land, and it asks you to pick a terrain feature that's wholly outside your territory and at least within your opponent's territory. And you complete the tactic if you control that terrain piece at the end of the turn. Terrain features are controlled the same way that the objectives are. The only difference is that they are not sticky, so if you move away, you will lose control. So for that battle tactic, you will need to have a unit contesting that terrain feature. The next one is Slay the Entourage, just asking you to destroy a unit in your enemy general's regiment. It's the battle tactic that can be affected the most by list building, and you can try to have as few units as possible in your general's regiment, but you need at least 1 unit in addition to your general to get the honor guard, so it's gonna be all about finding the good balance. The next tactic is Seize the Center, asking you to have 2 units within 3 inches of the center and not in combat. This one is one of the easy battle tactics for turn 1, so it might be worth some time to take first just to be able to score it, as long as your opponent doesn't have an easy way to deny it. Attack on 2 fronts is a bit harder to score, as it requires you to control 2 objectives that you did not control at the start of the turn, and one of them had to be controlled by your opponent. Deploying off your home objective could help to score this battle tactic in the early rounds. And the last of the universal tactics is Take the Flanks. You complete this battle tactic if you have 1 unit within 6 inches of each short battlefield edge. In addition, none of these units can be wholly within your territory and can have been set up this turn. This tactic is very battle plan dependent. It can be very easy on some of them and then very hard when you have a corner deployment and you are very far from the opposite short battlefield edge. On to Grand Alliance battle tactics. First we have Order, and they have 2 battle tactics that are pretty achievable. The first one is Reclaim the Realms, asking you to have 1 unit wholly within each quarter of the battlefield and more than 6 inches away from each enemy unit. Wholly within each of the quarter means that you cannot have just 1 unit in the center. So that battle tactic is definitely easier if you have a MSU build. The second one is Slay the Tyrant, and it's scored if any enemy hero was slain this turn by melee attacks. The upside is that you don't have to pick a hero, the downside is that it has to be killed by melee attacks. Next in line we have Chaos. Their first tactic is Offering of Carnage. You complete this tactic if 2 or more enemy units were destroyed this turn. There are no restrictions, you just need to destroy 2 units by any means necessary. And their second battle tactic is Ordain Charge. For this one, you need to pick an objective, have 2 units or more charge this turn. One of the units who charge has to be contesting that objective and you need to control it. So on one hand that's a lot of requirements, but on the other hand that's something that you want to do to win the game anyway, so it should be doable. For the death battle tactics, the first one is Marked for the Grave. For this one, you have to pick a non-hero unit that didn't have any models slain in this game and just destroy it. If there are only heroes, you can pick any unit instead. This one can be very situational, but it's worth noting that it works against single entities non-heroes, like monsters, chariots, Iron Sharks, for instance. Their second battle tactic is Inevitable Demise. To complete this battle tactic, you just need to have 2 units wholly within enemy territory, more than 9 inches away from all enemy units, and that were not set up this turn. This one is definitely easier to score on battle plans that do not have a no man's land, which is most of them, but it's worth noting that it doesn't work for units that are being set up, so it's not working with units being revived. And last but not least, we have Destruction. Their first tactic is Time to Get Stuck In. For this one, you need to pick 3 units that are wholly within your territory and not in combat, and you score this battle tactic if they all fought and they are wholly outside your territory. What that means is that all of these units have to charge so they can fight. And the second battle tactic for Destruction is the Cunning Approach. For this one, you need to pick an enemy unit that's in combat, one of your units that is not in combat, and you complete the battle tactic if your unit is in combat with the enemy unit and the enemy unit is destroyed. This one is situationally easy, but the issue is that it's not depending on you, it depends on your opponent leaving one of their units in combat with you to be able to pick it. Some closing thoughts on tactics. So all tactics that we've seen are pretty easy in theory, but your opponent has a lot of tools to stop them. Preventing your opponent from scoring battle tactics will be one of the most important subjects to master in the new edition. Regarding Grand Alliance battle tactics, they seem pretty balanced with the universal ones. The only exception is the Destruction battle tactics, with one of them being very hard to score and the other one being unfortunately situational, so you might not be able to score it in some games. Because of the requirements, most of the tactics offer some counterplay, whether it is with the commands like countercharge, redeploy, or using abilities from battle traits like free close step ahead from the Skaven, allowing you to move in your opponent's turn, or abilities on some war scrolls like Shalaxi being able to countercharge. Again, and I cannot insist on that enough, battle tactics and how to counter them will be really the key for success for 4th edition. Well, that's all for today for battle tactics. We hope you liked it. Thank you for watching. Please let us know in the comments below if you have any questions or thoughts, and we'll see you in the next video.